Okay, here we go with part two. We're going to start on number 6. We took on Monsanto. Oh, wait. Wait, did I already do 6? Oh, we already did 6. All right, let's go to 7. I think I was going to do 6 twice. We helped dozens of communities across the country keep public control of their local water systems and are fighting to keep our essential water resources managed in the public interest, not for corporate profits. So what's happening is big companies are coming in and trying to buy water resources so that they can sell them and make money on them. And obviously there's going to be people who have issues with that and do not feel that's something that they should be allowed to do, and that water is a human right and should be controlled by the public and not big corporations. Number 8, we helped get the United Nations and the state of California to declare a human right to water. And we're working alongside communities like Flint, Michigan to ensure affordable, clean drinking water for all becomes a reality. So you guys have probably already heard that Flint, Michigan had really bad water pollution problems. It was actually caused by their government. The local government in that area chose to try to save money by avoiding certain changes to their water piping system. And then by doing that, it released a lot of lead and other toxins, I think, but certainly lead, I think, was a big part of it, into their water supply. And, you know, I talk about this in class. I probably already talked about it this year. The federal government didn't really get involved, and that really says a lot about that they weren't interested in helping Flint, Michigan, and it's been an ongoing problem, and it's a poor community, so they don't have a bunch of money to hire a bunch of powerful big lawyers and use their wealth as a way to influence the government, and they've really struggled with their water pollution. So if you're curious about that, just type in Flint, Michigan, and you're going to see a ton of articles about what happened to their water supply and how the problems were actually created by their local government trying to save money as opposed to take care of a very important resource, obviously, in water. So, number 9, we launched campus-based and grassroots campaigns that are exposing the environmental health and equity problems with the bottled water industry, and help win bans on bottled water sales on college campuses and stop the giant water corporation Nestle from bottling local water supplies. Okay, there's a lot going on in that one. That one could have been split into more than one, but maybe they wanted to have 10, so they didn't. So not selling the bottled water is a big new thing. There's a lot of plastic pollution. I talked about it in this week's notes, and a lot of the plastic pollution is just coming from bottles of water. When I was a kid, you couldn't really buy bottled water. It wasn't a thing. And in some ways it's good. You guys see me with Fiji bottles. What I do is I buy 1 or 2 Fiji bottles, and then I reuse them over and over again using these filtered pitchers that I have. And so I don't keep buying Fiji bottles. I reuse them over and over again until it feels like, yeah, it's time. I don't want it to get too gross because you can't wash them. And, they last about a week or to 2 weeks. And then at some point, bacteria and stuff will start getting in there. And I recycle them, and then I buy a couple more. And so that's one way of reusing water bottles. But these small water bottles, people don't reuse them, and they just toss them, and it creates a lot of waste. So getting rid of them on college campuses will help with that waste. And then with the Nestle thing, this is a thing that a lot of people don't know. Nestle has been buying up a lot of public water and trying to sell it at a profit. And there's a bunch of organizations that I'm involved with, actually, that have been trying to fight back against Nestle and push and fight for the rights of these people in these communities to not have their water bought from them and then tried to be sold somewhere else in the world. That the water in your local area should be available to you and shouldn't be able to be bought by a big corporation and then sold to some other part of the world, and now your water that is no longer available to you. And if you're interested in that topic, just type in Nestle buying water supplies or something like that, and you can pull up information. So this group is fighting back against that corporation and trying to stop them from being able to do that. And then number 10, we fought off efforts by big agriculture to weaken key meat inspection rules and help prevent federal budget cuts that threaten food safety. So some of these big farming companies, they want to kind of cut corners on testing the health of their food and make sure, and sometimes food gets out there that's contaminated and people get sick, and then they have to have like all the food. You might even have heard of this, like sometimes Costco sends out emails and it's like, don't eat this food. We've got these alerts. People found that it was contaminated, and you can like bring it back and get your money back. And there can be different bacterial outbreaks that can happen. And some of these big farming corporations, they just want to make money as fast as they can, and they're not testing this stuff and making sure people are as safe as possible. And there's definitely been disease outbreaks because of it from these bacteria. And so Food and Water Watch obviously watches over food and has fought to make sure that doesn't happen any more than I guess it already is. And then at the bottom it says, thanks for joining with Food and Water Watch. Together we will win a healthy, sustainable future for our families and for generations to come. So hopefully, when we look at some of the things that are happening in the world, it can get a little overwhelming. But hopefully this helps reassure you that there's people out there that are trying to protect nature, and not just protecting animals and stuff as this is talking about. This is a lot about humans getting healthy water and healthy food, and making resources not just healthy, but also keep them available to local communities that need them. But there's lots of other organizations out there if you want to look up some, if you're just looking for some inspiration or you want to get involved. Very famous groups, Greenpeace, World Wildlife Fund, Defenders of Wildlife, Rainforest Action Network. Just kind of coming up with some off the top of my head. There's a group called change.org. There's a group called Some of Us, and the word some is spelled S-U-M, like sum meaning like a total, like in math. Some of Us is another one that I've been involved with. Trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head, but that's, it's a pretty good place to start. And hopefully when part of your research project on endangered species was to look up who's protecting your animal. So if you guys did your project right, you would have seen some groups that are out there trying to help endangered species and things like that as well. So again, what I'm going to have you guys do, and it'll be in the instructions written out, is I want you to pick 3. Try to have 3 that are kind of different, of the 3 things that really stand out to you, that are really great, that Food and Water Watch are doing. And then I want you to write like a paragraph, maybe a short 4 or 5 sentence paragraph explaining what they're doing and why it's important to you, and why you think what they're doing is a good thing for the world and for people and for ecosystems and for our resources. All right, so hopefully that'll get you a little bit inspired. And again, there's lots of basic things you can do. Recycling, being conservative with the water, using reusable bags, reusable bottles. There's a lot of stuff even teenagers can do to help protect our resources and our ecosystems. And I'm sure a lot of you are doing those already. Organic food, all stuff like that. So all right, guys, hope you're doing okay with the quarantine. I know it's not been the easiest, and but hopefully you're making the most of it and getting some quality time with your family. I've said it before, help out at home and be a good role model to the younger kids in your family, because they're going to look up to you during this time. All right, guys, that's it.